Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be going over and running this 40 HP 2019 Tohatsu that I put on my 1548 Tracker Grizzly Sportsman. By far the biggest change for me, other than 40 horsepower, is the tiller setup. I'm used to a twist throttle in which the gear linkage is built in, meaning when you twist forward it goes into forward, when you twist to a neutral position it goes to neutral, and you push it backwards it goes to reverse. This throttle and gearing are separate. A lot of people are used to running this. It's something I'm just unfamiliar with, but with a little bit of practice I'm sure I'll get the handle of it. Obviously reverse, neutral, and then forward. Something I want to have to get a little bit of practice with is going from reverse to neutral, because I do have a tendency to accidentally put it into a forward gear, so a little bit of practice there. Other than that, you have your key, you have your kill switch area, you have low oil, hot temp, and battery indicators all along the tiller, and you have 3 switches for your trim and tilt control on this engine. 2 on the tiller itself and 1 on the side of the engine to make it easy to put a transom saber if you have one. One thing I do love about the newer engines is that you don't necessarily need earmuffs in order to rinse your engine out once you're done. Now I will still use those on occasion for hot flushes, especially with salt water, but if I'm running in fresh water, it is nice having a cold flush. Now, I don't love the Tohatsu design only because it's plastic in here, and I'm worried about the hose actually stripping this out eventually, and it doesn't look like there's any way to replace this piece without replacing this whole side of the cowling. So there is some concern with that. I know it may be a little difficult to see on camera. I do like Mercury's more, where you have a hose that actually pulls out a little bit, and then you can twist on the hose with a little bit more ease, a little bit more comfort. So just something to keep in mind for the future, and something to look at if you intend to get one of these engines used like I did. If you're picking up one of these motors used, one thing you do definitely want to check is if you don't see sand in this port right here, simply take a pair of pliers, undo this clamp, and undo this one. You can pop off this hose and you can check to see if there's sand in here and it hasn't been flushed out properly. Now one thing I do give credit to Tohatsu on is the amount of space you have to work with when maintaining the engine. The Mercury's, the cowling, goes way higher, and it's a pain to actually reach down because it's such a tight fit. This Tohatsu, on the other hand, you have great access to your fuel or your oil filter, your fuel filter, oil fill, all of your spark plugs, and if you drop anything to the bottom of the cowling, it's going to be relatively easy to pick up. So kudos to them in that nature. Now for those of you who own the 1548 Tracker Grizzly specifically, I made a mistake with this engine, and let me show you why. When it comes to aluminum john boats, your riveted ones are generally going to have a transom height of 15 inches or so, and then your welded ones, things are made a little bit sportier, havocs, edges, things of that nature, they usually have a 20-inch transom. Most of them do. The Tracker is one of the very rare unicorns where this actually has a 23.5-inch transom, and this is only a 20-inch shaft, meaning if you really want to have this motor set up right without any type of kicker plate or setback, you're going to have to go for 25-inch shaft instead of the 20 like I did. Fortunately, the 20 still will work, and I'll show you that a little bit later. Now there are 2 things I'm going to do to alleviate this problem a bit more in the future. The first thing is I'm actually going to get a plate to set this engine back another 6 inches. That'll take it a little bit farther away from the rear of the transom, so that water's going to come up from the transom, hit the motor, and I should be able to trim out a little bit better. The second thing to help me stop with porpoising, usually I have some type of load in the front. Yesterday when I was doing some test runs I did not. So I'm going to load up a cooler with a lot of water today and make the boat a little bit more front end heavy to see if that can help me achieve optimal performance. One final note with this longer tiller, it actually comes all the way up to the seat base, meaning you can't put a seat right here and you're going to have to sit on the side of the consoles. Fortunately, this is a horrendous driving position to begin with, so now you have a good excuse to go ahead and get another base plate and put it on either side so you have more maneuverability, more comfortable steering control. And when you start to set this 6 inches back, if you decide to get a 6-inch kick-up plate or anything of that nature, like I intend to do, it should make the drivability a lot better for this cockpit. Alright, with all that being said, I'm going to go grab a cooler, fill it up with water, put some ballast in the front, and we'll get this boat in the water and do some test runs. Well, the original plan was to get this boat out in the water today and do some test runs, see how the engine performed with that additional weight on the front, but unfortunately, as soon as I was done filming, I actually ended up with a flat tire. Here's the tire in question, and you can see that there is a pretty large screw in it, completely flat. I had to travel well over an hour through beach traffic to go find a spare, and then it was probably an hour and a half back here, another 45 minutes of waiting for rain, and then by the time I finally was able to get the tire changed, which took another 30-45 minutes, it's already 7 p.m. But tomorrow, definitely will take the boat out and we're going to see how it performs. Now, with all my weight on the back as well as the additional weight of this motor, I'm not even on the second step of the sponsons, and I still have 12 inches of height between the transom and the water. So even when you have waves such as this while you're trying to film, it's not a concern whatsoever. Nothing's coming over or splashing over the rear of the boat. So something just to note. Now, a kick plate or 6-inch setback plate, which I will be adding, will add a little bit extra weight, but I don't think it'll be too serious. Well, here's the part everybody's been waiting for, hearing this thing run and seeing what it will do on this 1548. Cranks right up, gives it a little bit of revs, quiets right down. And this engine, it really is very, very quiet. Pretty much as quiet as the 25 I had. Now, just pop it into forward, and that 15P prop pushes this thing really well at low speeds. So with this motor all the way trimmed down, let's see the whole shot on this boat, especially with that hydrofoil added. Here we go. Already on plane. We're about to do this top speed run. Now, a few things. I know I don't have the right shaft length. I know I'm pushing a lot of water, which is reducing my speed, things of that nature. But this will give a relatively good idea. If I had the 6-inch plate in the back, which I probably will get, we'll definitely see how the performance changes. But top speed run without porpoising, got this camera on this sonar system. We'll see what we can do. All right, guys, here we go. Even with the extra probably 150 pounds on the front with the ice chest full of water, I was able to get 36 miles an hour. Keep in mind, this was with me not being able to trim the engine out exactly how I want it. If I could get this engine set up right where it needs to on the transom and everything, I could just about guarantee you with one person and a light load, this boat could hit 40. Absolutely incredible. Well guys, I do hope y'all enjoyed a small overview of this Tohatsu 40 on a 1548 tracker, and maybe you're considering one for your boat. Now if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to share, like, subscribe for more, and as always, thanks for watching.